Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. In this episode, we'll be talking about Tottenham's win in the Europa League. That is now 7 wins out of 8 games and 3 wins out of 3 in the Europa League. Tottenham Hotspur 1, AZ Alkmaar 0. Now, we are live on YouTube, we're live on X and also on Facebook. So please do get involved. Let us know how you are feeling right now as a Tottenham Hotspur fan. As per usual, I've got 3 very special guests to talk about this evening's game. Back with us is actor and good friend of mine, Ricky Norwood. Ricky, how are you?
I am good. I'm here at the stadium with, look, the one famous Chris Cowlin's over there. Look at him. He's just there. You know what? I am good. I'm so happy to be at the ground. I'm always love a live game. And tonight's no different. A bit of a crazy one, but to come out with a 1-0 win, another 3 points, positive times. We've rested a lot of players tonight. Let's keep this train moving forward. Loving life.
Also back with us is impressionist and funny man Darren Altman. Darren, how are you?
Funny man Darren Altman. Do you know what? I'm so wacky, Chris. I'm good, thank you. Yeah, that was livened up in the second half, didn't it? I mean, I nearly got my mug of cocoa for the second half of the first half, but yeah, he's got a habit, hasn't he? I think we're seeing a little pattern here. I think he goes and he puts a rocket up there. You know what's at the half time. I think we're seeing that now. In the second half, they came out and Mr. Moore was James Maddison just said, he was interviewed just now on TMT, and the interviewer said, "What do you think of Mikey Moore?" And he went bleeding out. He said, "I thought we had Neymar on the wing for the second half." So yeah, it was good. It was great.
What's wrong with funny man? You are funny.
Well, you know, funny I was going to say it's gone. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. I've been Darren Altman. Good night.
I thought he was going to do the Joe Pesci then. Do you know what I mean? You know, the Joe Pesci in Goodfellas when he's like, funny how? Funny.
Yeah, funny. What are you talking about? Funny how? Yeah, you little... Yeah.
I thought I was being nice.
Here's the pen.
Also back with us is channel regular Johnny Bowe. Johnny, how are you? Of course, radio presenter with Dublin's Q102. How are you doing?
Awesome. I mean, everything seems to be going very well at the moment. And, you know, we've got a poor Crystal Palace team to play at the weekend too. So things just seem to be on a roll for us. But let's not get too carried away. You never know what's going to happen. But so far, and you mentioned Mikey Moore, he's been amazing. But we'll talk about him later.
Well, let's come on to the football. As I mentioned, 3 wins out of 3 in the Europa League for Spurs. Spurs are second in the Europa League table. 9 points out of 3 games. Lazio lead the way on goal difference at the moment. Also 9 points from 3 games. They have a goal difference of +8. We have a goal difference of +5. In third place, Anderlecht, also with 9 points. They have a goal difference of +4. Now, the match stats and facts today. Spurs had 59% of the ball to AZ's 41%. We had 16 shots to AZ's 9. Shots on target, we had 5 to AZ's 3. Shots off target, Spurs 3, AZ 3. Block shots, Spurs 8, AZ 3. Touches in the opposition box, Spurs 38, AZ 14. Goalkeeper saves, Spurs 3, AZ 4. Aerial duels 1, Spurs 5, AZ 6. Fouls, Spurs 13, AZ 17. Corners, Spurs 6, AZ 4. Now, as I've already mentioned, Tottenham Hotspur 1, AZ 0. Richarlison with the only goal of the game in the 53rd minute, of course, from the penalty spot. Ricky, let's start the show with you. Your thoughts on today's game, because as Europa League campaigns go, it's been pretty good so far. 3 wins out of 3.
First and foremost, like you just said there, 3 wins out of 3 is fantastic. So to put us with 9 points right now, fantastic. Doesn't matter, you know, what the performances are like at this present time. The fact that we can change our side, the fact that we can put in some of our young ones and start playing them and starting them like Mikey Moore tonight and come away with the 3 points, I think is fantastic. You know, tonight's game for me, I've got to say it was a little bit flat for me first half, especially being in the stadium, and you know, it needed something to liven them up. I think Mikey Moore was always a threat today. And I think that he had a really good game. He had a great opportunity in the first 5 minutes, you know, a header at the back post and after a Timo Werner cross. So there were some definite positives today, and there was some room for improvement. I think this second side right now haven't had enough games together to warrant the clicking of the side. You know, Archie Gray still troubles me at right back and left back. It's great that he's getting minutes, and I think that he's doing well. But from inside the stadium, I find it easier to analyze at home, you know, on the big screen. But inside the stadium, I don't know, man. I mean, Archie Gray, he's doing well to get minutes, and I think minutes is the most important thing right now. But he hasn't really overawed me at right back or at left back right now. So there's certain room for improvement. I thought Bergvall as well, another one who done okay, but loads of room for improvement. The most important thing for those young ones is the minutes and is the start. You know, the fact that they can start the game tonight, I think that is a tremendous vote of confidence. And I think that that's going to see them in good stead moving forward. I don't know where Chris has gone, but he's gone somewhere. He hasn't clicked back. There he is. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's put them in good stead.
Darren, let's come to you. I'm getting a lot of feedback from Ricky, so I've had to move positions. So, Darren, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on this evening's win.
Yeah, I mean, a clean sheet, which is great. 3 wins from 3, a clean sheet. I echo what Ricky said. I think that to get all these, to get Mikey Moore a start, to get Archie Gray a start, to get Bergvall a start, I'm really pleased that he had a good. I mean, you know, he was okay. He didn't light up, but it was good that he played well, I thought, especially after he was subbed off so early in the last game with Dragusin being sent off. So he was obviously gutted. We all saw that. He was absolutely crestfallen. So I was really pleased for Bergvall. There were some moments. He's going to be a special player. I think he shows some wonderful touches and some great skills. I thought Archie Gray started well. There was a few really nice crosses. He was getting nice and wide and putting a few balls in into the box. Then he sort of went a little bit quiet for me. I'm not sure why that was. He likes to come inside, as per the Ange Postecoglou way, that he inverts, and he's coming quite central, which was quite noticeable in a sort of positional sense. And yeah, I like it. I like the combination of him starting, you know, with the young guys and a mix of the old and new. I remember when Nuno was our manager, he used to have a first team and a second team, and I don't think that was much cop. But you know, but I like what Angie's doing, and I also like the fact that we're now seeing different patterns of play. We're seeing Maddison and Bentancur, as I said before when we spoke, Chris, now finding long passes, looking up and seeing a run and finding a long pass, which I was crying out for. That was really noticeable today. Some of Maddison's passes and some of Bentancur's passes. And he's making changes. You know, he's not... Yes, we've got one way of playing. I'll do the air quotes because that's what Ange always says. You know, we're just going to go attack. But he's not being belligerent. He's making substitutions. And I'm seeing changes now. I don't know whether... Well, he can't have been told anything because he's the boss. But I just wonder why you think that is, because he was being quite belligerent when he came in, and now I think we're seeing a different Ange, or I certainly am, making changes, swapping things more now, making decisions. That's not working. We're going to try this, and I like that. I like that a lot. I think it bodes well for the future.
Darren, what have you made of the last couple of months? Because as I mentioned at the top of the show, 7 wins out of the last 8 games. And the other game was that Brighton game, of course. You know, fantastic opening 45 minutes. We all know what happened in the second 45 minutes. But what have you made of the football that we've been playing over the last couple of months?
Like I said, Chris, a progression, really, to my eyes, a progression. Slowly, catchy monkey. A progression, you know. Stylistically, I think that we're changing now. I think there's more variety to our game. You know, all of us here are positives. You know, we're sort of glass half full men. but it was getting. I say me. It was getting. There you go. Yeah, he's on the. What's that? Brandy and Coke you got there? What you on? Is it? There you go. There you go. Yeah, but he's making changes now. We're seeing different styles of play, and I like it. There was a period towards the end of the first half. I looked at the clock, and it was about 30 minutes or so, and we were doing the side-to-side bit again, and that was a bit like, oh, come on, guys. The runs stopped. Everyone seemed a little bit static, and we were going. Oh, here we go. Sorry, we were going. Yeah, all right. She's a bit of a diva. She wants to be the center of attention. Only pussy I'll be getting. That was the only concern. But by and large, yeah, I think our styles are changing. I think his leadership's changing. And yeah, I see improvement now. I see improvement. It all bodes well. Just that one little blip at Brighton, and if we can carry on playing, other teams are going to be scared of us. Other teams are going to be scared of us. We are, with this gung-ho attitude, you know, they will fear us. And we've got strength in depth now. We've got strength in depth. God forbid something happens to Solanke. If he's not feeling Richarlison, he'll bring Mikey Moore on. Certainly against the Palace on Saturday, if you know, it all bodes well.
Johnny, let's come over to the professional corner. How are you feeling about that win?
Look, it's a great win, and may it continue. We just have to keep winning. You know, of all the sides in the Premier League, we're the most attractive side to look at. I mean, even the neutrals will tell you that. We're playing a lovely style of football, but you know, as Darren said, there is that element of just a one sort of style. It is nice to see him adapting, though, bringing on substitutes when required. The Brighton game was just a shocker, and I hope they learned from that. So when you're 2-0 up, you just kill the game and try and just win it out, even if you lose 2-1, but just to win the game. But that will all come. It's just a process. This is a project for Postecoglou, and we just have to get behind him. As frustrating as it is, sometimes, like, you know, God forbid on you know, at the weekend, if we were to lose the game to Crystal Palace, which can happen, you know, you'll have everybody going, oh, for God, get him out. You know, everyone starts panicking again. So I think the most important thing is just get behind the process. The style of football, I'd say in the last 10, 15, 20 years, the best style of football I've seen Spurs play. I mean, we've seen some really tough stuff to watch. And I have to say, this is the best. This is definitely the best style of football to look at. I love watching them now, even the highlights on Match of the Day. We just need to. You see, the younger players that are coming through the academy are now putting pressure on the full-time professionals that have been there for a while, and so that's good, because that hasn't happened for a while. And there's a few of them coming through now, and so the older players are going to start feeling the pressure. We have to put in a good performance if we want to get selected at the weekend. And Mikey Moore there and a few of the other players that are just have come from the academy are doing so well. And that's what you want to see. Now, I would have loved to have seen Chris Jed Spence in that team. You know, I know he wasn't selected. He is missing because I think he's a fine player. One of those goalkeepers should have been dropped. But anyway, it is what it is. We're not the bosses there.
I don't think he can play in Europe, I heard today, for some reason.
No. Oh, is that okay? Is that why he wasn't selected?
I think so. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, Jed Spence is not part of the squad as yet, but he could join the squad when the squad is chosen again in January.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good.
Johnny, let's stay with you for a second, because what have you made of Tottenham's Europa League campaign so far? Because as I showed the table there, 3 wins out of 3. Yes, it wasn't pretty tonight. I think that some fans would have thought that, you know, parts of the game were quite boring at times this evening, but it is European football, and a win is a win in European football. And we'll talk about team selection in a minute, but it's about taking opportunities, and I felt like a number of players done that this evening.
Well, it's great to have Richarlison back. I mean, he's been missing for quite a while, and we need him up front. And when he's playing well, he is a threat. He's a physical guy. You know, a lot of the defenders don't like playing against him, and he can head the ball. You know, he's a good right foot on him as well. So, you know, it's great to have him back in the team. But there was also a mixture of younger players and a mixture of more mature players in the team, and that's what we want to see. As a fan, we want to see the younger ones coming into the team. But this is a competition that we are in the race to win. We can go all the way in this. There's no like. Imagine being an opponent coming to play us. You know, we're going to really go at them. And if we keep all our players fit, and we have a selection of strikers to choose from, I think the world is our oyster. I mean, I'm really confident about Spurs this season. I have to say, I just feel so much better. And I don't know about the other guy. I don't know about you guys, but it actually improves your mood when Spurs are playing well. You wake up the next day and you're kind of looking forward to going into work, talking to your friends, because when they're not doing well, you're kind of going to bed feeling like really down, and it actually does affect you. So I hope I'm not the only one.
Gary, after our win against West Ham, he watched Match of the Day twice. He watched Sky all day, and he was still moaning that when he was driving home from his gig, there was no football on the radio. He was like, guys, there's no bloody football. Why can't moaning? All he wanted to do was watch Spurs and listen to everyone talk about Spurs. He was like a kid on Christmas morning.
I think it's happy clappers all round.
Yeah.
Before we actually talk about the starting 11 and go into the match instance, I just want to go around to all of you and ask you who your standout players were this evening. Who were you impressed by? Ricky, let's start with you.
Yes, mate. You know what? For me, the most outstanding player today, first half and second half, was the young Mikey Moore. I thought he done everything to take his opportunity. I think he made dynamic runs. I think he tried to make something happen within the game. It's unfortunate he didn't get a goal in those first 5-10 minutes whenever that first opportunity came. But I thought he done so well. So he's the one that most impressed me tonight.
Darren, what about you?
Yeah, Mikey Moore was great. I think as a 17-year-old, obviously, Ange said something without a shadow of a doubt. He said, run at their fullback because you're going to have joy there. And he did it, and it was amazing. I've got to say, hats off to Dragusin. I thought some of his defending was brilliant. And even when he lost the ball, he got up and won it back. I thought he was fantastic. Really, really good. And obviously, we're used to seeing Romero and Van der Ven, but I thought he was great for someone who doesn't get minutes, and he got red carded in the last game. I thought he really made a good account of himself, and I think that I thought that I just thought it, like I say, it all bode well. I thought he had a really good performance, solid, and some really good challenges right inside the box. Like he saw the opportunity, went for them, fearless, and nailed them. So that was really good defending.
Johnny, who impressed you this evening?
Well, I mean, you have to mention Fraser Forster because he didn't let any goals in. I mean, any goalkeeper that goes with a clean sheet, I always think, has to be mentioned. But there's only one player that got a standing ovation when he came off, and that was Mikey Moore. So, you have to select him as man of the match. That's for sure. And also, Richarlison got a goal, and he hasn't been playing in so long. So I think that's going to give him a lot of confidence. And I think he should start against Crystal Palace. I think he'll put those defenders under pressure. So I think those three players for me. But overall, and then Timo Werner again. I don't know whether you saw Bergvall on around 27, 28 minutes past that ball into him, and he scooped at the shot, So he's definitely lacking in confidence, but he's 75% there, Werner. He's a speed demon. There's no doubt he gets into the positions, just the final ball. But a good coach will help him there. And I think Postecoglou knows what he's doing. He keeps playing him, so he sees something there. And but those three players I mentioned, I think, are the ones for me so far today.
Ricky, let's come to you. Ange Postecoglou, of course, made 9 changes from the team that beat West Ham United here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday. Udogie and Maddison are the only 2 players that kept their places in the team from the weekend. So the starting 11 this evening was as follows: Forster, Gray, Dragusin, Davis, Udogie, Bentancur, Maddison, Bergvall, Moore, Richarlison, Timo Werner. The subs this evening: Austin, Basuma, Johnson, Kulusevski, Lancashire, Odegaard, Pedro Porro, Romero, Sarr, Solanke, Vicario, and Van der Ven. Did this starting 11 surprise you in any way, or is this exactly what you expected?
For me, Chris, I would have expected Vicario or Austin to start, to tell you the truth. You know what, with Forster, especially after that Coventry game, I was very worried about Forster starting tonight. But credit to him for keeping a clean sheet. I don't know how many shots he faced. I know you've got the stat pack there, Chris. But, for keeping a clean sheet, like Johnny there said, fantastic to him. Well done to him, I thought it was going to be a change side. I thought Maddison was going to start after being taken off after 45 minutes. And it was good that Bentancur got some game time as well. So I was expecting a change side. I was. We knew that Sonny wasn't going to start as well. And I think that we saw that in the performance, a bit of a change side. Now, I know I was getting on Gray's case a bit, and he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything outlandish for me to, like, dig him out. And I'm not digging him out. I'm just saying, like, I felt that he hasn't wowed me yet in those positions, even though this isn't his position. We know as fans his position is centre midfield, right? And we haven't really got to see him that much in that position as yet. So I'm not digging him out. I'm just saying he hasn't overawed me. He hasn't really wowed me in that sense, playing right back or left back. But I felt that the side done really well, to tell you the truth. It was tough because every time, and I don't know how it looked on TV. I know by coming to the stadium, it looks different on TV than it does in the stadium. There's many things that are like you'll feel like the atmosphere kick up with a certain player, like Mikey picking up the ball in the stadium, and I don't know whether you'll get that at home or, you know, it's the same with like Werner today. For me, he put in like maybe 2 good crosses, and I think he made like 3 short passes that found its place. And I don't know whether I'm being like extremely harsh on him, but he didn't really do much for me. He didn't convince me that we need him for the second half of the season right now. Richie, for me, he was very, very, very quiet. He done a lot of running. Every time he passed it either too long or too short. I know it's his first game back, so let's hope that these minutes kind of help him get into the rhythm of the game. But for somebody whose position is under threat, Richie, by Solanke, I expected a bit more. He had 2 shots that were very weak, very tame. So I expected a little bit more from him. It is his first game back, though, so we do have to bring some context to it.
James Maddison has actually been talking about the penalty, and of course he wanted to take it and Richarlison wanted to take it. He's actually come out and said, we both wanted to take the penalty. I'm a senior player and captain today. I had a conversation with myself and thought Richarlison has just come back from injury. It can be difficult for a striker, so I let him take it, and that will do him the world of good. Darren, on the starting 11, were you surprised by 9 changes this evening?
Not really, no, because, you know, like I said, he's blooding these new players. Every single minute that Gray plays, that Mikey Moore plays, that Bergwall plays, you know, like I said, especially after that substitution in the last game, they can only learn and learn and learn. And they will have gained so much tonight. All 3 of those, they would have gained, even if they didn't, even if say Gray, as Ricky said, and Bergwall didn't light up the world. Bergwall, by the way, has got so much promise, that guy. There is a player in there. Wow. Seriously. But every single minute they play, they are going to learn. They will go to bed tonight thinking, wow, what have I just done? So, yeah, I mean, I was happy with it. And if you look at the bench, like all of our first team were on the bench. So there was no, you know, if we were to go a goal behind, he'd have swapped it round. You know, if what things were looking ropey in defence, he'd have brought Romero and Mickey on. But like I said, Dragusin played well. Maddison was playing really well. Bentancur breaking up the play. Lots of examples of him nicking the ball and then playing a lovely ball forward through the lines. You know, long balls. Maddison, long balls. Udogie again. He's a special player. I don't think he gets enough credit, to be honest, Destiny Udogie. I think he's absolutely wonderful. He runs. He comes inside. He's great. And like I said, all you need to do is look at the substitutes. We have our incredibly strong team. I mean, if we'd have gone, say, 4-0 up, he'd have bought, you know, Lancashire on. So, you know, it was a good night. We didn't set the world alight tonight. We won 1-0 and it was a penalty, but it was job done. It was a good night. Good night.
Darren, at what point in this competition do you think he will go a little bit stronger?
We obviously March, you know, that's when all the fun and games start. So yeah, that's I mean, listen, you know, it all depends how well, you know, people like Mikey Moore perform and Bergwall. If he thinks that he can still get a tune out of them, and we're laughing at, you know, and he's happy for them to start, you know, and have faith in them, then why not? I think he's that type of manager, to be honest. I think it's only when the fecal matter hits the air circulating implement that he will, you know, panic and, you know, maybe start with his so-called first team. But it, you know, it was great tonight. Perfect.
Johnny, happy with all of the changes this evening?
Yeah, just what Darren said about the fecal matter. That was fantastic, Darren. That was a really good joke, actually.
Because every time, you
funny
drop
man, funny man.
Even if you drop a little bomb and petty bomb, you know, the boss man goes, "Oi, we'll get struck off. What are you doing? We'll get taken down."
Funny man.
Chris, could you please repeat your question?
Were you happy with all of the changes this evening?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of changes, and there needs to be, because, you know, a lot of the players that play tonight don't get to play on they're not picked on the squad team on Saturdays or Sundays. They're left on the substitute bench. So it was great to see Dragusin, Bergval, Richarlison, Mikey Moore. These are players that don't normally start. And it was just great to see them being included, because, you know, you must, as a professional player, when you're in the dressing room 2 hours before the game and the manager's reading out the team sheet and you're not called and you're given the bib, you know, it's kind of a little bit depressing, I'd say, getting that news all the time. So he has to start these players, because morale can drop as well. It just keeps them happy. And if he sees them and he sees they're offering something really good in these European games, he will include them then at the weekend. So you may see the team sheet against Crystal Palace or Manchester City coming up in the EFL Cup, or an Aston Villa after that. You might see some of these players like Mikey Moore starting. And I think that would be really great for their confidence and just for the team going forward, because we have to introduce younger players. We can't keep expecting Heung-min Son to keep doing it all the time. You know, he's not getting any younger. So we need players coming up as well, and just to push those senior players. And he's including them, you know, so it's just great to see.
Johnny, let's stay with you, because in the 5th minute, across from the right-hand side, Mikey Moore couldn't quite get on the end of it. After 12 minutes, James Maddison had a shot on target, easy for the goalkeeper. Of course, James Maddison was captain this evening. Let me go back to the previous summer, because when Ange Postecoglou came in, he made Heung-min Son captain, James Maddison and Christian Romero as vice captains. Of course, Maddison captained the side this evening. What have you made of James Maddison in a Spurs shirt during his time at the club?
Started off very well, then sort of faded. I think last season he sort of faded off, but he was injured as well. He did carry an injury. When he came back, then he just wasn't the same player. But certainly this season so far, I think we're seeing the real James Maddison. You know, maybe 1 or 2 games a bit quiet, but you know, his attitude seems to be an awful lot better. But just during the game, at the beginning of the game, I think Van Bommel got injured, and Casillas, I think, came on. So I think that actually suited us really, because I thought Van Bommel was a bit stronger and he was a bit more of a threat as well. But he did come off. So, but with Maddison, I think that we're seeing a better Maddison this season. And he just seems to be, I love when he just from 25 yards takes a strike. I love the way he turns, swivels, and then just goes, shoots at goal. And if it's saved or it rebounds, you got a striker to come in, Mikey Moore, whoever it is, coming in just to bang it in. And that's the James Maddison we want to see. We want to see him shooting from 20 yards. You know, I love the swivel, and then and it goes into the top corner. Just gives everyone a lift. And well, that's what he used to do in the early days, you know, and he just needs to start. I think it's more confidence, really. But like, imagine playing for Ange Postecoglou and you're told, keep going forward. Don't pass back, you know, don't pass sideways. Just keep going forward, keep going forward, keep going forward. Must be actually nice for a professional player to be told that. Because imagine playing for Nottingham Forest or any other team, you know, you're probably getting tactics. You're kind of saying, I don't really want to do that, but I suppose I have to do it because I'm here and that's part of what I have to do. But I'd rather be on a team where you're just attacking and then you defend when you have to defend. But that's James Maddison is best suited to a team that plays that style of football. And that's why I think he's doing well at the moment.
Ricky, let's come to you in the 17th minute. Across from AZ from the right-hand side, it seemed that players were queuing up in the centre but luckily for us, none of them got on the end of it. What did you make of Tottenham defensively this evening?
You know what, Chris? For me, like I felt that Dragusin and Davies were a good partnership. I think after the last game that they played together in this competition, that they're working a relationship. You know, you look at Ben Davies and he ain't even getting onto the first team squad on the weekends. You know, so he's got to a role in a kind of seniority role where, you know, he's respected, but you're not really going to get that many Premiership minutes. You know, his competitions and his play time is going to be in the cups, and especially this cup. And I think that him working with Dragusin, that I think they worked well together. Udogie, like Darren was saying earlier, so underrated in the sense of that we almost expect a high level performance from him from somebody who is so young. You got to remember how young he is, that he spent, you know, an extra season in Italy on loan before he came down to us. Hit the ground absolutely running. We missed him when he was injured at the end of last season. We were begging and praying for him to be in this the beginning of the Premier League campaign, and we was also begging in the transfer window for cover for Udogie as well, which shows you how important this boy is. So I think that those three in particular were fantastic. Look, I think Gray done a really good job. I just don't think he was Porro-esque. I don't think he was Spence-esque. Do you know what I mean? He didn't give me that attack in front. I really want to see him because I think that he could be the one. Like, he could be the game changer, I think, Archie Gray. I think there's so much to come from Archie Gray that we haven't seen yet in these positions that he's playing. And that's where my frustration comes from with him. It's just like, I want to see him in his position. I want to see what he can bring to the team. I want to see what he can do in his preferred position. But the fact that he's getting time outside of his position is also education, is also things that he can take into his locker for the future. So for me, I think that the back four, back five done really well. You know, Forster, again, clean sheet. And I think Bentancur done really well to kind of shield those central defenders. I think that he done really well to kind of track back, to kind of tackle, and anytime that we was under pressure, to take the ball and move it forward. You know, one minute. I think we might have somebody. Go to somebody else, Chris, and I'll come back.
Darren, let's come to you. Now, I feel like last season, if we were to say that we were going to be making 9 changes in the cup competition, I feel like last year's podcast would have been, oh, why on earth are we making 9 changes? But is it the fact that Ange Postecoglou, this squad, has given us fans so much more confidence, the fact that we make 9 changes now and we're like, well, it's a good move?
Yeah, I mean, I can only repeat myself. You know, these young players that we've got now, you know, they're all getting minutes. They're learning every time they come on. It bodes well. And I think that because we're doing so well in the Premier League and in this competition, you know, as fans, we're not panicking. I think that maybe, I want to say 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago, you know, when we were just up, down, 3 months ago, you know, we were all moaning and, you know, I mean, I can't go onto Facebook anymore because I'm a member of a few groups and they're just the doom and gloom. It's awful. It's awful. Ange out. He doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, come on, do me a favor. And now, you know, they can, as Alan Partridge says, you know, put their words on a plate, add a bit of humble pie because we're winning, you know. We've lost 1 game in the last, what was it, 7, 8? So I don't think we're panicking anymore. When we see a team like that, I didn't look at it and go, oh my God, he's playing Archie Gray. Oh my God, he's playing Steve. You know, because like, give them minutes, like, fine. You know, like this is what they're there to do. And if it goes wrong, he will deal with that accordingly. It didn't go wrong. You know, it was fine for the first half. There was nothing wrong. So I think that as fans hopefully, as fans, our outlook on Ange and the team is changing, as well as I've said, hopefully, Ange is evolving as well. As much as he likes to think that he's belligerent, you know, Chris, as much as he likes to say that there is only one way and it's my way and the hard way or the highway, I think he's slightly changing now and adapting his style. I think he's seeing a bigger picture now. now that we're in all the cups and in Europe and everything, he's starting to not smell the coffee, but he's starting to see what it's going to take long term.
You know what, Dal, you're so right. And because if you look at the halftime substitution as well, it wasn't a young one, it was a senior. Timo Werner got pulled.
Yeah.
And it could have easily been one of the young ones to say,
yeah, you're right.
Okay, cool, it ain't working because of A, B, and C. But he took off Werner, who was not very good. I didn't enjoy his performance tonight. However much I want him to do well, when it comes down to the truth and critiquing a player, I don't think he done anything for us in that first half and was totally deserved to come off. Total opposite to Maddison on the weekend. Maddison done a few bits on the weekend. I don't think he played badly. I think that, his corners against West Ham were not the greatest, but Ange pulled him off because of, all right, cool, tactical substitution, and it worked for us. I think that Timo got taken off because he done absolutely nothing in that first half as a senior. We can't excuse that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. It's like having Timo Royal on the left, wasn't it?
Darren, let's come to you, because in the 27th minute, Timo Werner was through on goal, and the shot was like a back pass, and I think that's fair to say. It was that weak. 3 minutes later, AZ forced a good save from Fraser Forster, and then in the 38th minute, Timo Werner was through on goal again. This time it went over the bar. What did you make of Timo Werner's performance this evening? Because it seems to be pretty frustrating.
It is. We've discussed him on the pod before. I think to give him the benefit of the doubt for that second shot, it was a funny angle, and he couldn't get his foot round it. It was going away from him, wasn't he?
It wasn't only that though, because just 2 minutes later, Timo Werner gave the ball away on the halfway line.
I know. Yeah.
AZ in, and they very nearly scored. We'll talk about Fraser Forster in a minute, but another good save from him.
I mean, you obviously weren't watching it on the TV, but they kept on using the word confidence and lack of confidence. So you're right with that shot. I mean, even if it was like a back pass. He didn't even leather it towards the goalie, in order to sort of make him do one of them. It was just a very timid shot. I mean, if he'd have put his bloody foot through it, and whacked it, that'd have been different. But it is frustrating. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and slate him, but
I don't want to slate him. Far from it, Darren. But what I ask every guest on the podcast week by week, and I'm going to ask you the exact same question: Do you think Ange Postecoglou can get the best out of Timo Werner and build that confidence so that he can score goals?
He's been defending him.
Give us a lot more.
He's been defending him. I personally, if you want me to be honest, the polite way of saying it is, I don't see what he adds to the team. I mean, he can maybe beat a guy and put a cross in, but I think the word I keep on using is perfunctory. He's just there to he doesn't set the world alight. And I think that I don't see what he adds to the team. Having said that, Ange has been defending him to the hilt. I mean, he's got to really. He can't slag him off. He's the manager, and Werner's one of his players. So what can he do? But defend him. But I don't get excited when I see his name on the tee sheet. But who else have we got? That can run down and put a ball in on the left. Maybe. Hello. What does he think?
Shiza. He's saying wrap it up is what he's saying.
Oh, he wants me to rap.
Security are coming. He's saying wrap it up. Look. He's got to see Chris now. Look.
Johnny, let's come to you. I feel like we've spoken about Timo Werner so much on the podcast, but of course, half-time it was 0-0. Timo Werner went off. Brennan Johnson came on, and I think, as Darren said earlier, it was such a strong bench. So had Ange Postecoglou needed to change the game at any point, we could have done so. What did you make of Mikey Moore's performance? Because in the 48th minute, Mikey Moore, cross shot, saved by the goalkeeper. I thought it was absolutely superb. Only 17. There is so much more to come from him, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. And as I said earlier, he got the standing ovation when he came off, and he'll be getting a lot more standing ovations, I'd say, over the next few years. But I just want to see him. I'd love to see him start at Crystal Palace, at the weekend. And you just need to, look, he's 17. I think when Michael Owen started playing. He was around that age for Liverpool. So, and look at what his career was like. So you just never know what's going to happen. Spurs just need to hold on to these players. These are the future. And he's a great player. But look, we have spoken about Timo Werner. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of issues going on there, I'd say, behind the scenes that we're not aware of, probably not familiar with what's going on. But I'm sure Postecoglou knows. He is playing him, so he does definitely feel there's something there. If he didn't fancy him or think he was any good, he wouldn't play him. He's that type of guy, But Mikey Moore is so young. He's his family must be very proud of him as well. Imagine playing for a big Premier League club like Spurs at 17 and be able to put in performances like that. And then the crowd, the Spurs fans, they always remember a good performance. And they'll get up and give you a standing ovation when you've put in a big shift. So Timo Werner should learn a little bit from that, because they'll give it to him if he puts in a shift like what the younger players are doing. So, it's great these academy players are coming through, Chris, because they're going to put pressure on the older players. And I thought that's what was very prevalent tonight.
Johnny, let's stay with you because, of course, in the 52nd minute, Spurs went 1-0 up. The only goal of the game was Richarlison scoring from the penalty spot. Now, that will do him the world of good, won't it?
Yeah, because I think, off the pitch, he's been having a few issues. There's no doubt about that. And we wish him all the best with that. Life's not easy. It's very challenging for people. And for certain people, it's more challenging than for others, But he seems to be coming around. There's no doubt about that. And he's a confidence player. And he's a Brazilian international. Brazil have always been considered the best footballing nation in the world. And the fact that we have him, he's well known over there. You go to Sao Paulo, you go to Rio de Janeiro, they all know about Richarlison. And they say, oh, he plays for Spurs. Any of the Brazilian players playing in Europe, they all know them over there. And I just would love to see. To be honest with you guys, I don't know whether you're dreaming at the moment, because I'm kind of thinking if we were in the final of this competition, how would we all feel?
Don't go there.
No. How would we all feel like going in to a final, like playing Fenerbahce or something in the final? I mean, just it'd be amazing. So I'm keeping the dream alive, and if the players stay fit, we have to have that attitude, lads. We have to keep going, because if we give up, or we kind of because I think the mentality of the Spurs players for a very long time, the confidence was gone there. And I think Postecoglou is going to bring that back. He's working on it at the moment. I think he's working on it behind the scenes, and it's going to take a long time. But you can't do better than just winning 7 in a row or whatever. They're just winning, and that's great. The Brighton game was just a freak game. It was a freak game. It's something we've done before, but I think they'll learn from it. They have to learn from it and make sure it doesn't happen again. Because there will be a time when they're 2-0 against Man United or 2-0 up against it, and everyone will think, geez, are they going to come back or whatever? We just have to make sure we close out those games. But, the future's bright. The future's orange. It's late on a Thursday night. I'm feeling great going into Friday morning. Long bank holiday weekend here in Ireland. Come on.
Do you know what, Johnny, what you were saying about when the players all learn from it? The thing that peed me off after the Brighton game, obviously the result, was the bloody international break. I was like, oh, God, I can't stand it. That bloody
timing wasn't great.
No.
And we've got another one coming up very soon as well. Ricky, let's come to you. And let me just say, a very well-taken penalty from Richarlison, by the way. In the 54th minute, Brennan Johnson crossed to Richarlison, and I've written down here, he should have shot himself. Ricky, how impressed have you been with Brennan Johnson so far this season? Right. And it's worth noting, in the last couple of days, he's gone back on social media. A good thing or not?
Well, let's find out. Let's see if it's a good thing or not. Firstly, I think the whole online saga, I think that's a massive period of growth for him. I think it's a period of strength for him. I think that the fact that he could delete it and put it to one side is also a strength for him, so that he knows this going forward at this age. He knows this, that he can drop it and kind of just focus on what he needs to focus on and keep it moving forward, But so I don't know how long he's been back on it, but against West Ham and against AZ, even though he came on, he hasn't scored. And previously, he scored every game. So, that's just a little kind of those that do bets left, right, and centre. Maybe he's not going to score every game after this. And those that are playing fantasy football, Darren, Do you know what I mean? Like he might not be scoring every game from this point onwards, but I think that his performances have improved tenfold. I think that even the touch. Let's forget about the goals for a minute. His first touch has been phenomenal for the last 6, 7, 8 games. Do you know what I mean? His directness, his intention, his attention to kind of, and his awareness around the goal as well. I think they've all upped, and I think that he's had a point to prove, and I think that he enjoys proving that point. So long may that continue as well, especially for a young one. I think that the experiences that he has gone through will help the rest of the young ones that are coming through, either from the youth system or Bergvall and Gray, when they get into some sticky situations online. I think that Brennan's going to be able to be the shining light in those moments and kind of give that advice where needed for those other young ones coming through. Because all of these young ones in the team, they live online. You know what I mean? They've grown up online. You know, when it was in the buggy, they were swiping and they were finding YouTube to watch Chris Cowlin online. So this has been a regular occurrence for these young ones, you know, from that point of view. So I think having someone like Brennan that has gone through it, come out the other side, actually hit the ground running and kind of put the doubters to shame and quieten those doubters has been a phenomenal experience for him. One that I think that gives him more strength going forward, but also more wisdom for the rest of the squad to grow in the coming weeks and months. So big up Brennan. Keep doing what you're doing. As soon as he came on, the whole crowd were excited to see him on. And that's what we want. We want to be excited about Brennan coming on or starting the game. You know what I mean? We don't want to be like, oh my gosh, is he? Do you know what I mean? We want to be excited. And I think that's what's happening right now.
Darren, let's come to you. In the 58th minute, AZ had a shot over the bar. A minute later, great footwork from Mikey Moore. And I know we've spoken out about him during the podcast already and in various other podcasts already, what a superstar he's going to be for the future. He's certainly done his job, but no one was there when he crossed in. A minute later, Brennan Johnson played Richarlison through. He was offside. A couple of minutes later, AZ shot on target. Easy for Fraser Forster. In the 64th minute, Solanke came on for Richarlison. What did you make of Richarlison's performance this evening, Darren?
All right. Doesn't, again, benefit of the doubt. You know, it's the first time he's played in ages. I don't know with that, man. I just don't know. I don't know. You want him to do well. I can only be honest with you. I can only be honest. He's a bit like Werner. I don't want to compare the two, but I just don't. I don't know. He's a striker, and he doesn't. You know, apart from a penalty tonight, I don't see where the goals come from him. Really, scores the odd header, but I want him to do well, but I just don't. He doesn't excite me. He genuinely doesn't excite me. Solanke, you know, his movement off the ball, even though he hasn't been getting goals, what he does off the ball and his work rate off the ball is, we see that, and we see what he adds to the team. With Richarlison, I don't know. Hopefully, the more starts he gets, the more football he gets, the more his confidence builds up, he'll start scoring goals. But a striker that doesn't score goals, that you think, you know, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. In answer to your question, I don't think he lit up anything tonight. Decky, when he came on, was unbelievable. Johnson, when he came on, straight away, you could see it. Papa Sarr, an impact straight away. All of them, as soon as they came on, attack, and you saw the difference. With Richarlison, I just didn't get it.
Johnny, let's come to you. Bergvall and Maddison went off in the 73rd minute. Sarr and Kulusevski came on. How do you think they got on?
Absolutely. I think they did quite well when they came on. I mean, they didn't have a huge amount of time, didn't have a lot of impact when they only had about 25 minutes to go. But when they did come on, they did extremely well. Look, the one thing about the Spurs squad is now there's so much choice. Everybody seems to be fit. There's not many players out injured, so we have that adaptability. He can change the team very quickly. You can just change the players around. So if you know, Bergvall comes off, he has a replacement. If Kulusevski comes off, he has a replacement. But it's good to see Bentancur, you know, playing as well. Just in relation to Richarlison, though, I agree with you, Darren. You know, I think Richarlison and Werner, there's definitely confidence issues, but I think outside of football, and I'm not there, but I would imagine there's issues outside of football that we're probably not privy to. But the thing about Richarlison is he's better at finding the net than Werner is. That's for sure. So if I was to start one of them, it would be probably Richarlison, and just by a little whisker, I think. But at the moment, everyone's fit. There's players that are able to come in when other players aren't performing. So I think it's great if we can just keep going like that and winning the games. It doesn't matter if we win the games 1-0, just win the games and get them over. Worst thing is when you draw these games, you have to do replays and all this sort of stuff. You'd be there forever. It just adds on more games. Just win them and get them over with. Go back to the dressing room, get on the bus and go home.
Yeah.
But I mean, it certainly is there's a feel-good factor around the stadium at the moment, isn't there, Darren and Ricky? There's a real feel-good factor at the moment, you know, and you can feel that, you know.
We're going in the right direction. And just for you guys that were watching at home, when I just turned the camera right there, that was Kulusevski. Kulusevski was just jumping in the lift to get to his car to go home.
Wow.
I think Chris. But then we all know, I kind of know that Chris got a picture of him real quick. He's probably still getting a picture of him now. That's why his camera's off. But you see how I shared it with both of you, Johnny and Darren, and the viewers at home. I shared it with you. You see how Chris, he just goes and gets it.
Yeah.
Can't take him anywhere.
Friend of the stars.
But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Johnny. There's a good feeling around this squad. There's a good feeling around this manager. There's a good feeling around the direction in which we're going. And you know what? This quote unquote second team has got a long way to go because they're hungry. Every single one of them are hungry. The fact that they haven't clicked yet comes down to what Darren was saying earlier, that they haven't really had that game time to click. So, you know, they've got to find it. They've got to find it. And you can see the players that are taking their opportunity, and you can see the players that are not. And I think that, you know, it is very positive going forward because there's more people that want to win and want to achieve for this club than there's not at this present state in time.
So in the 78th minute, Mikey Moore had a shot on target, easy for the goalkeeper. A couple of minutes later, Kulusevski had a shot on goal, easy for the goalkeeper. In the 86th minute, AZ went down to 10 men with a red card. Darren, what did you make of that incident?
Yeah, I mean, 2 yellow cards, 2 yellows, they make a red. Yeah. Keep talking. 2 yellows make a red. You know, as my mum said to me the other day, always gone off. You know, but not about me. You know, when did I first start? When did you first started watching Tottenham, Johnny? You know, what brought you?
I started watching when Steve Archibald was playing in 1981. Actually, was when I started watching them, and Ricky Villa and Ozzy Ardiles. That was the time I started watching it, and I've been watching ever since. And I think in 1984, I won't say what birthday it was in 1984, but I did get, my parents got a card and all the players signed it. And I have Gary Mabbott's signature. Now, this would have been during a time when they actually signed it. It wasn't sort of a photocopied kind of thing like they would do now, or a printed thing. This was literally the players signed it. So I have that from 1984, a birthday card. I still have it. And I think it was...
You 13 in 1984?
No, that's for our viewers to think about. Now, yeah, nice try, Darren. But Johnny, I do have... Yeah. Oh, sorry.
In the 87th minute, Wilson Odobert came on. Of course, he has spent a little bit of time out injured. Mikey Moore came off. Odobert shot just wide in stoppage time. What did you make of his small cameo this evening?
Well, there wasn't much time to really witness what I mean, we know what he can do. I mean, there's definitely potential there. But, you know, he needs to be on a little bit longer for us to really see what he can do. I think there's a lot of selfies going on behind the back, and also security are trying to kick you out, are they? Security are trying to kick you out.
Security are trying to kick us out. That's what's happening. Look, see what I mean? I'm getting, I'm getting manhandled. Look.
Put him in jail. Oh my
gosh.
I like Odobert. There's definitely a player in there. He's another
was in the elevator. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He's such a good looking boy. Let me tell you.
Who's that? Who's that, Ricky?
Van der Ven.
Oh, yeah.
Van der Ven was just there. Bloody hell. Where's Chris? Is he here? All right, he's coming. He's coming, gents. Nice one. Take care. Love every time. Come on, you Spurs. Sorry, I had to say goodbye. Oh,
right.
That Mickey Van der Ven, though, mate. What a bloody well player he is, isn't he?
Now, last question for you all.
All right, go.
We are next in action on Sunday against Crystal Palace. Ricky, how do you feel we're going to get on against Crystal Palace on Sunday?
Is that Daniel Levy?
Brother, you always...
Like Levy.
You always know me. I'm always a positive one. I'm going to say a big 3-0 win for Tottenham. That's where I'm at. Johnny, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go with I'm going to go with us to be leading 2-0 at half time and for Crystal Palace to come back and win 4-2. Only joking. No, I think it's going to be. I'll go with 1-0, 1-0 to us.
I'm gonna go 2-1. But they haven't won. A, they haven't won a game. B, they've got no bloody players. They've sold all their best players now. Is Eze still with them?
Yes.
He is.
Eze and Gay as well is there. They're both still there.
But what's his face who's the other one that's gone to? Is he with Villa or can't think of his name.
At least he went to Bayern.
Yeah.
Eze. Yeah.
Eze and Gay are still at Crystal Palace.
Yeah, no,
They've
there's
still got
another one who's can't think of his name. I can see him in front of me. Anyway, they've lost a few of their decent players, so I can't see them beating us.
They lost to Elise.
Thank you. Yeah. And another one, the other one. I can't think of his name. Yes.
Doucouré.
Yeah.
I think he's injured, Darren. Yeah.
No, there was another one. I think he plays for Villa now. I can't remember. Chat. Those in the chat.
They're kicking us out. They're kicking us out, gents. They are kicking us out. We've outstayed our welcome. Everybody wants to go home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight. So that's what we're doing. Look, you can see how quick. Look how quick Chris is walking. Look at him. Thank you, guys. Take care. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. You see, at least I'm polite with it. Do you know what I mean? I try and say goodbye to people. Do you see how quick Chris? Well, look.
I know.
Where is it? Look.
Johnny, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Where can people find you on social media? What are you up to at the moment?
Well, I'm on X, Twitter at Johnny Bowe 1. You can listen to me in about 6 hours' time. I'm going to be on Q102 in the morning at 7 a.m. Q102.ie, where you can download the app, and you can also get me on Instagram, Johnny Bowe DJ.
Lovely.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Look forward to having you on again very soon. Darren, where can people find you?
I won't do that joke. It's inappropriate. You can find me. Just knocking about, really, Chris. Just knocking about. Lovely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Lovely. Funny man, Darren Altman.
Thank you very much, Darren. Look forward to having you on again very soon. And Ricky, where can people find you?
People know where they can find me. They can find me on X at Ricky J. Norwood, official Ricky Norwood on Instagram, and probably with your fine self, Mr. Chris Cowlin, after the next game, all right? Always an honor and a pleasure. I love coming to the stadium. It always gives me a buzz. That's got nothing to do with the alcohol. So come on, you Spurs. Another win. Another day in Europe. Let's keep it moving. Come on!
Well, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for all of your input and support. Ricky, Johnny, Darren, thank you so much.
Are you two going to get a motel now, or what's going on?
Funny man, Darren Altman. Thank you so much. Come on, you Spurs.